G'day guys, I've just returned from the Australia and New Zealand Team Championships, one of the most prestigious events in the Australian Warhammer 40k calendar. I was captain of Team Victoria this year and we managed to secure our best results in over 5 years. So today, I want to share the entire trip with you vlog style. We're going to go through everything that the team did in preparation for the event. We're going to go through the event itself and we're also going to cover how the team celebrated after we achieved this amazing result. Enjoy the ride and let's get stuck into the video.
Look for the blood god.
G'day guys, 2:30 in the morning was when my alarm went off today because I am on my way to the airport to fly to Brisbane on the other side of Australia for a Warhammer 40k tournament called the Australian New Zealand Team Championships. This is one of the biggest events in the Warhammer 40k calendar in Australia. It's a huge honour to be involved and I want to take you on the trip with me, vlog style. So with that being said, let's just jump into the video. Alrighty guys, we're about to drive into the airport. It's about a 45 to an hour drive from my home, so we're going to jump straight into that. And I'll give you guys some information about the event on the drive. Alrighty guys, so you're probably wondering what is this Australian New Zealand Team Championships. It's probably a good place to start the video is talking about what event we're headed to. So the ANZTC is essentially Australia and New Zealand send a whole bunch of teams of 8 players together in a similar fashion to the World Team Championships or the European Team Championships of the past, where basically you've got each state of Australia sends their best 8 players, and then the 2 islands of New Zealand, the North and South, send their 2 best players. Their 8 best players. And then we have a teams tournament like the World Team Championships, but to see which state is the strongest or which nation is the strongest. So it's a really, really fun event. It's really cool. It was set up a while ago to try to create more interest in the teams event format in Australia so that we could put together a strong team to send to the World Team Championships. And it turns out it completely worked because Australia won the World Team Championships last year, so the format is definitely proven to be a successful one. So that's essentially what this event is. This year and in a couple of previous years, I'm the captain of the Victorian team, which is one of the Australian states obviously. So I've put together a team of the 8 best players in my home state, and we're all heading to Brisbane, which is one of the northern states in Australia, and we're going to be basically having a big team showdown. This is actually the biggest year where we've actually got 10 teams in attendance. So in previous years, not every state has been able to field a team. Sometimes the New Zealand boys can't make it for various reasons, but this year is the biggest with 10 different teams, so 80 players going head to head in some truly brutal but amazingly, collaborative Warhammer 40k. For those who don't know, I'm a massive advocate for teams 40k. I think it's the absolute best 40k you can do, and I actually think it solves a lot of the challenges that people have with regular 40k. The teams format is just fucking amazing. I did a video fully going through all this, so I'll link to that in the description, but I'll give you just a TLDR of why I think teams tournaments are so amazing. One of them is that the way that it shapes the meta. So if you're looking at like a meta for an event, and it's a singles event, and you want to win that singles event, you kind of have to put yourself in a scenario where you have no bad matchups. You might not necessarily have any really easy ones or any really good ones, but you've got no bad matchups. There's nothing that you go into where you're just like, I can't beat this, right? Whereas in a teams format, you actually can have that because you have a little bit of agency over who you're going to verse. So that means that you can dodge those bad matchups. So it's worth skewing your list to be particularly powerful into certain things so that you can try to hunt those things down in the pairings process. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the pairings process, basically what happens is the captains get together. Each one has 8 cards, which are each card representing one of their players. They roll off. One of them will put up a player, and then the other captain puts 2 lists from their available ones into that player, and that player then selects which of those 2 they will verse. Right? So the idea here is if they put up something like, let's say they put up knights, and you've got 2 lists that are really good at killing knights, you put those 2 lists into the knights, and then the knight player gets to pick which one of those 2 that they want to verse, and then they end up playing their game. So it's a really, really interesting way of doing Warhammer 40k because you get a bit of agency. So you can write a list that's designed to hunt things down, and you can be like, look, I'm really good at killing, it might be horde, right? You might be really good at killing infantry. Be like, yep, if they put up their Genestealer cults, their Orks, if they've got an infantry heavy guard list, if they've got, whatever it is, you go, cool, put me into that and I'll win, right? So the idea there is you're just tailoring your list to hunt down certain matchups, and because of the team event format, you're more likely to get that matchup than you would be at a singles event. Or you can design your list to have no weaknesses, which would be like something like a traditional tournament list, where you'd be like, yep, put me up, I don't care who they put into me, I think I can win against most things. Or you might be like, there's only one army in the game that I really can't beat, everything else I'm pretty good into. And then that's a really good shield list or a really good put up where you're like, okay, I'm going to put up this list, and then no matter what they put into me, I'll pick one of the 2, whichever's the lesser of 2 evils, so to speak, and then I'm going to go ahead and probably beat that list anyway. So it allows you a lot more flexibility with the types of armies that you can bring, whereas in a singles event, like they're not really, those options aren't really open to you. So really, really cool format in that regard. One of the other, and that's the meta angle, right? The diversity that allows you to achieve, and some of the lists that you'll see at a teams event are nothing like the lists that you would see in a singles event, because your list can afford to have a glaring weakness, provided that you're able to do the pairings in such a way that you dodge that weakness. Whereas in a singles event, you can't have a glaring weakness in your list. But that's just the meta side of it. The other side of the brilliance of the teams format is that you're part of a team. So there's several angles to this, but one of them is that all of your results from each play get sort of combined to come up with your team's result, which means that if you lose your game, your team might win their round, and therefore you win even though you lost. So it turns losses into wins, which is really, really a satisfying way of circumventing, that feeling of going to a tournament and having to win 5 games back to back, that pressure, that intensity. That's nullified by teams event because you can afford to lose a game, provided the rest of your team win that round. So that's really good. And it also means those games when you do win, you feel even better because not only did you just secure a win for yourself, but you also secured a win for your team, which is a really, really exciting thing as well. So yeah, the team I could go on about this for hours, and I have done a separate video where I do just that. But the teams event format is just absolutely amazing for Warhammer 40k. So check that other video out if you want to hear me ramble about that for a bit longer. I'm going to keep going with this drive, and I'll hit you guys up when I arrive at the airport. Alrighty guys, here we are at Melbourne Airport. I've just parked waiting for the shuttle to take me to the actual terminals. And I just thought I'd hit you guys with a quick update on the list that I'm bringing for this event. I will go through it in a lot more detail throughout the video, but I'm bringing my Black Legion. So the same list that you saw me talk about endlessly through the last few months, I'm bringing it again. I really wanted to do the World Eaters, but given, like we said, with the teams format, I can actually bring some really weird skew lists, and I think the Black Legion fits that niche really, really well. So the list is your standard Abaddon, Master of Possessions, Dark Apostle, Terminator with the Sorcerer and the fucking, what do you call it, Veilbreaker plate, 10 Terminators, 2 units of 10 Cultists, a unit of 5 Raptors, 2 Hellbrutes, a Venom Crawler, and 2 Decimators. So that's the list. It's really, really simple. It's really, really small and tight, knit little nugget of really hard to kill Terminators that put out massive amounts of damage with all of those key supporting elements that you want. And yeah, I look forward to, you know, getting it on the table and doing some damage with it. And yeah, I just thought I'd hit you guys with an update on that while I wait for my shuttle bus. And yeah, talk to you soon. Alrighty guys, 6-day weekend for me and the bad eating begins now. Fuck, I love croissants. And cider. The only thing better than a cider and croissant for breakfast is cider and 2 croissants. Alrighty guys, I've got a quick pro travel tip for you. Always grab yourself an early flight, earliest you possibly can. 2 reasons. 1, they're always empty, so you get plenty of leg room, and you can always get a window seat, and you don't have to move past people if you want to get to the bathroom. And 2, absolutely stunning sunrise views. Another cool travel tip is when boarding, go find yourself a cafe. Hang out there, have a croissant, and wait for your name to be called. That way, as soon as your name is called, you can hop on the plane, it immediately takes off, no waiting required. G'day guys, I've just landed in Brisbane and I just wanted to give you guys a quick update and show you the absolutely stunning weather that we have here in Brisbane. Coming from Melbourne, it's so much nicer here. To give you an example of what I'm talking about, here is the weather in Melbourne this week and here's the weather in Brisbane this week. Same country, but it feels like I've flown to another fucking country. The weather here is so much nicer. Look at that fucking sky. This is ridiculous compared to what I've just come from. Anyway, I'm on my way to go grab the rental car now, pick up the boys, and then we're going to get into the Airbnb and get stuck into some practice games. Fucking performance issues, mate. Get it in. Go on, win me a Pollywhirl. Oh, you going for that one, you reckon?
This one you can't go. But someone's like ruined it from when we were here before.
Forward a bit.
Nah, let's go past like 2 feet. No, I'll look it over there.
Yeah, you good.
Oh, you can't!
Dude, he's fucking teetering. He's teetering.
Give us a fucking Pollywhirl.
Bring him home. This is worth a 20. If you win, this is 20. A little deeper, Daddy.
One target for you, fat fuck.
Oh, you made it worse!
Victoria's chances of the ATC right here, let's go.
If I get this, Queensland has to concede.
Oh my god.
Oh! Sorry, Eric. Sorry, mate. Can't help you. Alright guys, we've just finished a sick game of 40k Monopoly. Adam, Reese, how did we go boys? Who won?
Golden one.
Raise your hand if you won. Hey! Just to give you guys a quick situation report. This is the properties that I own that are currently not mortgaged, fully active properties, with motels out the arse.
This is Lion King, this one.
And then that cunt is all mortgaged, Prattle. That cunt dead. And the other guy dead. Winner, winner, chicken dinner for Chaos. G'day guys, Friday before the event, I'm here at Irresistible Force Games in Brisbane, and pretty much the entire Victorian team is here, and we're about to go in and do some practice games. So we've got some games on the go, and there's also a really, really amazing hobby store that I want to show you guys. So let's go straight in and have a look. There you go guys.
There you go.
G'day guys, there we have the end of the first round of the ANZ TC. We had Victoria got paired into South Australia. This is the same team that we got paired into last year, which we got a draw against. So an interesting matchup. It was a bit of a grudge match, if you will. I played against their Iron Hands list with my Black Legion, and I got a pretty big win there. It was a predicted win. I thought we were going to win that game, and we did. So it was good to deliver on those sort of expected results. And that also helped the team win the round. So Victoria beat South Australia, got the win, which put us in pretty good standings for the event. Good to see. My game against the Iron Hands was a pretty interesting one. He had like multiple Redemptor Dreads, he had the big unit of Desolators, and a bunch of Land Speeders. So basically what I did there was deploy the Terminators out of line of sight of those Desolators, deployed all the cultists out of range of the Desolators because I was concerned that what was going to happen is he was going to basically use this out of line of sight shooting to kill all my cultists and my raptors and all my little stuff, which would make it a really hard game because it would mean the Terminators would have to fight the world, which is a hard thing to do. But luckily I was able to deploy out of range, and he was so scared of my Terminators he kept his Desolators hidden because he didn't want to obviously come out and just get blasted by Terminators. And as a result, the Terminators were basically able to bully the midfield, protect all my characters, whilst the little units in my army did their thing. And then turn 3, I think it was, the Terminators split in half, the Abaddon advanced and charged all the way up in and killed all the Desolators, killed a bunch of Dreadnoughts and shit, and it was just game over. So, strong win round 1. We're about to head into round 2, and yeah, we'll be right back. Alrighty guys, there we have the end of round 2 of the Australian-New Zealand Team Championships. This round was into Western Australia. This is one of the strongest states in the country. They came second the last, I think, 3 years in a row at the Australian-New Zealand Team Championships. So a really, really strong team. They've got some of the strongest players, so it was really exciting to get the matchup into them. I played against a Daemons player, which is an interesting matchup for me. The Daemons have a lot of really cool tools and really cool tricks, but so do I, so it's always one of those games where you're not sure which way it's going to go. But I ended up getting the win 19-1, so this is using the WTC mission scoring system, so differential. And basically the way this game worked was he put both Scarbrand, he had a Bloodthirster with the phase cap, He had a bunch of demonettes, a bunch of fiends, a bunch of flesh hounds. Really cool list. And basically he went first, which was good for me. He did not want to go first. He basically moved his fiends and his hounds up into the middle of the board, sort of around one of the flanks. Then in my first turn, because he'd moved up, I didn't have to use my Veilbreaker. In fact, I didn't Veilbreaker at all in this game. I basically just moved the Terminators up, charged the stuff that was in the middle, shot some other stuff, killed his Flesh Hounds early in the game to try to make it so that he couldn't stop my Warp Ritual. And basically the Terminators took the center, Abaddon took the flank, and then basically I had a little bit of a triangle where I had the Terminators holding the center, Abaddon holding one side, and then a bunch of like Raptors and just bullshit holding the other side. He held his Bloodthirster and Scarbrand off until turn 3, which was, in my opinion, was a bit of a mistake, because it meant that I could basically just run amok with the Terminators unchallenged. Like, I think by the end of the game, he'd killed like maybe 4 Terminators. The game was looking a bit clutch, a bit iffy at some points. It could have gone either way, but turns 4 and 5, I really took it away. That was the turns when I just went nuts and killed all of his characters, went nuts and got massive primary. I took like no prisoners as well, and I maxed it out by there, or I got as many as I could from him. So yeah, turn 4 and 5, it really swung hard in my favour. Yeah, mate?
I'm wondering where the cheapest brothel is.
Cheapest brothel? Fuck. I don't know, I'm not from Brisbane, but if you find out, let me know. Nah, just joking, man. Good luck. Fucking Brisbane, man. That's so funny. I'm not sure if you heard, but that bloke just drove past and asked me where the cheapest brothel is. The cheapest brothel, not just the best or the closest. Fucking hell. Anyway, I'm so glad I got that on camera. I fucking completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, anyway, so as a result, like, I got that big win. A few other people on my team got big wins, so we actually got the win against Western Australia, which is really good. Putting the stoppers on that team is really exciting. So now we're going to go into round 3. It's looking like we're probably going to get paired into Queensland, which are the team that has won the last few WTCs, and they've got a pretty strong claim to being the most powerful state in Australia when it comes to Warhammer 40k. Multiple World Team Championships winners and team members are on their team, so it's going to be the hardest matchup by a long measure, but I think we can do it. I think we've got the tools, we've got a good team, our momentum is really good, and yeah, wish me luck. G'day guys, just wanted to hit you with an update. We've just finished round 3 where we paired into Queensland, and we've just gone out for dinner and whatever. We just got back to the Airbnb, and I thought I'd hit you guys with an update on the round results. So I got paired into Alex Terrison on Orks. Now, Alex is one of the World Team Championship players for Australia this year. Exceptionally good player. And his list was really, really cool, but my list was really, really good as well. So I thought it was going to be a very interesting game, and I was not wrong. So he had 3 battle wagons, a couple beatstick characters, fuck tons of beast snagger boys, fucking all this orc stuff, bunch of Gretchen and whatnot. And basically, I got the first turn, and I knew that he can just launch out of his Storm Boys can launch out of those battle wagons so deep that if I play KG, he's going to just charge me in my deployment zone, and then we're going to be scrapping in the deployment zone. So I was like, okay, what I need to do is I need to go first, get the ascendancy on him, charge him in his deployment zone, and keep the fight happening there. It does mean that he's going to be able to throw his whole army into my Terminators in one go, which is a scary prospect. But I think the alternative is him just picking up all of my supporting elements, picking up the cultists, picking up the raptors, you know, pushing my shit in to the point where the Terminators now have to deal with his entire army anyway, but instead of doing it in his deployment zone, I'm doing it in my own. So I went on the full aggressive. I got the first turn, so I moved up, put all my buffs on, charged in. In that first turn, I shot down 1 unit of Beast Snaggers. I shot a battle wagon down to 1 wound left. And then I charged and killed 2 battle wagons. One of those battle wagons exploded, which was really interesting because it was sort of right in the middle of his army, and it just did a fuck ton of mortal wounds, spill damage to all of his stuff. Then he disembarked out the Beast Snaggers and the Storm Boys that were inside, and he did it so he was close enough that I could pile into them to fight them. And his thoughts was that I wasn't going to do that because I was just going to give him a free round of fighting. But knowing that I had all of my buffs up, knowing that he's not got his buffs up because he hasn't had a turn yet, so he hasn't declared a war, I was like, I actually think I can tank it, and he can't fall back and charge. Because he can't fall back and charge, that means he's either going to have to stay in combat with the Terminators, which he doesn't really want to be, or he's going to have to fall back because he's not going to be able to go charge my Cultists, he's not going to be able to go charge my Venom Crawler, all those sorts of things. So that means I get to keep my backfield, keep those objectives up, and that worked really, really well. Basically, he killed one Terminator with 20 Storm Boys attacking, so that felt really good. And then he pulled off probably one of the most masterful moves I've really ever seen in 40k in terms of combat finesse. Where basically I had the Terminators all strung out, right? Because I charged 2 battle wagons and then piled into the 2 units that fell out. So I was in this big sort of line with like 2 ranks of Terminators. And then basically what he did is when he charged in, he charged the Gretchen in and placed 1 Gretchen in between each Terminator. And then he charged a bunch of his characters and stuff in so that they were within an inch, so they were in engagement range, but not within half an inch. And because all my Terminators have been based by the Gretchen, that meant that I couldn't move my Terminators because they're all base contacted. And because I couldn't move them, and I wasn't within half an inch of him, I could only fight in 1 rank. No Terminators could fight through each other. And basically what that meant was that he fought with 1 unit, and then when I got my free Marcus Slanesh fights first, it was like, I can hit 1 Terminator can hit the Meganobs, 1 Terminator can hit the fucking Beast Boss, 1 can hit the War Boss, you know, like, so the Terminators on my interrupt, which normally is one of the biggest strengths of the Chaos Space Marine Terminators, is that people can't hit it with multiple units at once, because if they do, they fight with 1 and then you fight with them and kill the other stuff. Because of the way that he'd positioned his models masterfully, it meant that I wasn't able to do that. However, he basically threw his whole load in, killed like 4 Terminators, 5 Terminators, wasn't that big of a deal. Then Abaddon got in, and all these units got in and started doing massive damage, and it was a real swing. Unfortunately, I timed out on my chest clock, which is largely due to the fact that that first combat was... First of all, we were in combat from turn 1. So, it was... We only got 3 turns, and we both ran out of time on our chest clocks. But, yeah, because we had combat from turn 1, everything took so long. And because of the way he'd presented me with this really interesting challenge that it was really hard to pull apart, it basically meant that I had to think a lot in that first couple of turns to make sure that I didn't just get fucking steamrolled. I had to try and find a way to get myself out of that rubric that he'd created. Fucking sick game. If I got another 5 minutes, I would have won. It ended up, I think it was a 12-8 win to him. If I'd got an extra 5 minutes, because I still had Abaddon alive and I still had 2 Decimators alive, if I had just 5 more minutes to do 1 more turn, I would have been able to flip that result. Hunt down the last couple of characters I needed to kill, get those last primary points. But unfortunately, I timed out. And he's well within his rights to say, oh, sorry, mate, you're actually timed out. And I was like, yeah, I respect that. You know, that's something that I need to work on. This is the first time I've ever been timed out before. But, you know, it is what it is. So, you know, time is a resource. You need to use it well, the same way that you need to use your units well. So, yeah, really sick game. This was definitely the toughest state. There was several World Team Championships level players on that team. And I think we got... 5 points short of a draw. So we lost the round. Victoria lost to Queensland. If we'd got, I think it was 5 more points, as a state, as our team, we would have drawed with them. Which is a huge, proud moment for me as captain, because this is like one of the big bads. They're the big scary team, and we got so close to tying with them. That's actually... I consider that a massive success, and every one of the games was really great. Like, nobody had any issues, no challenges, really close games, really interesting. So, but yeah, so super proud, really great games, and we're going into day 2 now. It's going to be round 4, and it's looking like we're going to be playing into the Merc team, so another Queensland team, so another really strong team, lots of strong players, and we'll see how we go. And yeah, I'll hit you guys back with an update soon. G'day guys, just finished our round 4, first game of day 2. We were up against the Queensland Mercs, which is one of the stronger teams here. They're, home state, they got the home field advantage, they get to draw on all their good players. And I was playing against a Chaos Demons list. Now this list was mono Zinch, so Be'lakor, and then just shitloads of stuff, like lots of flamers, lots of the big chariots, lots of characters. Really cool list, really cool guy. The game was pretty straightforward. I got first turn, so I basically moved up, took the center, strung my objective secured Terminators out across 2 objectives, and then took the rest. So it was the Scouring was the mission we played. And basically, as soon as I realized he had no objective secured, I was like, I actually don't need to push and try to kill anything here. I just need to keep all my buffs up, keep my characters safe within that nugget of Terminators, and string across 2 objectives so that one model's holding this one model's holding that one, and he's going to really struggle to, push through that. And it worked perfectly. So I killed Be'lakor by the end. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. He timed out just before me, but we just sort of finished that battle round and it was fine. So, which meant I wasn't able to go in deep and get all of his assassinate points. I wasn't able to go in deep and get, all of those, objectives, but I still managed to get the win. So it was a 12-point win to me, 8-point loss to him. And then we won the round. Victoria won big there. I think we got 111 or 112 or something like that out of the possible points, which is 160 out of 160. So a really strong win there. And that's put us in a really good position. So now we're currently sitting on 3 wins and a loss. And if we win the next round, we'll get silver medals. And if we lose the next round, as long as we don't get dumpstered hard, we'll get the bronze. I don't think it's possible for us to get the gold unless we go really hard, get a massive win, and the other Queensland team shit the bed. Then it might change. But as it's currently standing, I think we're looking at a silver best case, which I'm fucking happy with. And so I'll hit you guys back with a summary after this. We're going to go do some prep work into this New South Wales, I believe it is, that we're getting paired into next. And I'll let you know how we go. G'day guys, there we have the end of round 5 of the Australian New Zealand Team Championships. So we went into New South Wales, Victoria versus NSW. And this year, NSW has brought a really, really killer team. There's 2 World Team Championship players on there for Australian representatives. So world-class players on this team. And it was a real strong team, so it's going to be a hard matchup for us. I got paired into the Genestealer cult player. His list was quite interesting as well, actually. He had 2 big units of Aberrants, which is something that you don't really see in the competitive Genestealer cult lists that often. And then he had 2 big units of bikes. He had some Genestealers and a rock grinder. He had a fuck ton of characters and then a bunch of small units of just sort of guys running around. Really, really interesting game. I got some advice from my Genestealer cult player at the start, and he basically was saying, he was down talking the list. He's like, it's a bad list. Aberrants are bad. There's a reason nobody takes them. They just die, man. They just die. So I was like, okay, cool. And I mistook that as thinking that they didn't do much damage. But holy fuck, do Aberrants do damage. So basically, I won the roll for turn 1, so I went up into the middle of the table, started my warp rituals and shit. Nice. So started my warp rituals and shit, and basically postured. I got all my defensive buffs up, so I'm like, yep, this is fine. I'm like the toughest unit in the game. He can't kill me, it's fine. And then he basically, turn 1, just threw all of his Aberrants into me and blew my fucking dick off. Like, killed all my Terminators. And I was like, oh shit, this is a big problem for Dean. I managed to swing it around a little bit and sort of stop the bleed, if you will. Just by doing things like, going for my secondaries. I prioritized my secondaries. I knew without the Terminators, I was not going to be able to comfortably hold any of my primary, because anywhere I go, he's just going to drop fucking guys 3 inches and take it. He's going to take me off my objectives, because all I have left really is like some vehicles and some cultists and shit. So I'm like, I have to abandon my primary objectives and just maximize my secondaries. Obviously make him work for it. Don't abandon the missions for no reason. but make him work for those points, but don't, you know, prioritize them. So I went for Assassinate, no prisoners, and my Warp Ritual, and I basically just started stacking buffs, like going nuts on my characters to try to keep them in the game, just so that I could keep those secondaries up and running. I threw Abaddon around, he was running around like a big bully and killing things. And basically I played characters running around doing stuff with the Decimators shooting all game. And I also knew that I needed to mitigate his secondaries, because I knew I couldn't stop him from getting 45 primary, but I could stop him from scoring high on his secondaries. So like when I brought in the Decimators, I made sure that I brought them in somewhere where they were just so far away from the battle that those aberrants were never going to get to them. And that's the sort of stuff that he needs to kill those Decimators. And yeah, scored really big on no prisoners, scored big on Assassinate, scored a decent score on on Warp Ritual, and it ended in a result of an 8 loss to a 12-point win to him. So I lost that game. So that puts me at the end of the event on 3 wins, 2 losses, which I'm not unhappy with, particularly in a teams event. We've still got a couple games going. I managed to finish early, and it's looking like we're going to win the round though. So I think that's, or at the very worst, it's going to be a draw. So I think that's going to get Victoria in a 2nd place win. I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, I think we're looking at a 2nd place with the Queensland team coming first. But yeah, I'll probably record the awards if I can. If not, I'll hit you guys with a summary afterwards. But yeah, let's get stuck into it and see what happens.
3rd place, give yourself up. Yeah, get a photo. Cool. You want to go to the camera? Yeah. I did not take it over the dark. Yeah, get off there. Marco, look sexy. Yeah. That's impossible. Nah, he's bad. In 2nd place, Team Queensland. Nah. Victoria. Such a fucking adorable little animal. It's got like the knife trapped in the candle. Man, somebody has lost the weight. Somebody has lost.
3, 2, 1.
Jeremy Scott.
Yeah, boy.
Alright, first place, the tallest team around, Team Queensland. Get a photo up. Can I get a photo yet? Spell flex, Eric. Stand up. Stand up. It's fun size.
G'day guys, you just saw the podium. Victoria came second, which is a fantastic result. Best result Victoria's had in over 5 years, so I'm really, really proud to have been able to captain the team into such an awesome result. So to celebrate, we went out for drinks last night, we got fucked up, we're all hungover as shit, and we thought, what's better when you're hungover as shit than a water park? So we're here at Wet n Wild on the Gold Coast. I'm probably going to spend most of my time in the lazy river because I'm fucking knackered and it's been a fucking grueling weekend. But as you can see, there's some water slides up there, there's some sick shit, so we're going to have some fun this beautiful sunny day before we head back to miserable Melbourne. But we're bringing back the silver, so that's fantastic. Super proud. And yeah, I'll give you some more updates on the flight home, I guess, or on the drive home from the airport. But for now, me and the boys are going to celebrate, have a bit of a
We have Dylan up in the blue tube and the Brokeback himself in the yellow one.
My money's on Chrome Dome. The baldness will
Oh, your cue ball.
Cue ball. Here we go. Oh, that's a photo finish. Last time was a bit too close to pull.
This time you've got cue ball in the blue. And
Bill Bott.
yep, Space Marine extraordinaire. I don't think he plays any other armies, really, just Space Marine, yeah?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
He's pretty well known for playing Marines and anti-Marines.
Yeah, yeah. Over in the yellow. Maybe he's signaling he wants to try Imperial Fists next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he talked about dabbling in some Orks. But,
He didn't get very good results when he tried them, so...
no, it's fine.
Yeah.
But he said he would play mids, so...
Yeah. I can't imagine... Yeah, it'd be good on them, but I can't imagine him ever playing a Xenos faction. And... very clear finish in first for Dylan there. I suppose the Marines coming out on top.
It stayed pretty dry on that one.
back from Wet and Wild, where the rest of the team had a really sick day, just blowing off some steam, relaxing. Some of us spent the afternoon baking in the sun, getting some cocktails in us. And then the mad cunts like me were spent our day going down all the water slides, doing all the crazy activities, which is really good fun. A really good way of sort of, you know, rounding out the weekend, celebrating the good results that we got, you know, bonding as a team that little bit further before we all head back to Melbourne. And yeah, so I just wanted to update you guys on that. I'm going to hit the airport soon, and we've still got a few hours before our flights, so I don't know what I'm going to do to occupy ourselves in that time. But yeah, we had a few of us had different staggered flights. We had some people leaving earlier than others. As a result, we had to get into the airport now. My flight's not for probably 3 or 4 more hours, so plenty of time. But yeah, just thought I'd update you with that, and I'll talk to you soon. G'day guys, we're back in Melbourne. As you can see, there's fucking rain all over the window. It's miserable here as always. I've just dropped some of the boys off driving home from the airport, and I just wanted to hit you guys with a quick update. You'll probably notice I'm a bit nasal at the moment. I think I caught a cold this weekend. I actually think I caught it before the weekend. I think I caught it on like maybe Wednesday last week. But I chatted up and told my body, no, you're not sick. You've got important shit to do this weekend. You are not sick. And I just chatted up, and it appears to have worked, but it's come back to bite me now. And yeah, definitely got a bit of a cold coming up, so I'll try and get out this video, record the last bits, but apologies for the fucking nasal voice. Anyway, so I'm absolutely fucking chuffed with the results. We came second, as you saw, which is the best result Victoria's had in over 5 years. Really, really good result. And it was also just an amazing event in terms of just things like the terrain was great, the players were great. I didn't have a single angsty game. Everyone was fucking awesome. And the venue was fine. And the trip itself was amazing. The Airbnb was great. We had 2 houses for the team, split 11 players across 2 houses. It was an absolute, ripper of a weekend. Playing Risk and Monopoly with the boys was so funny, and 40k Guess Who. If you ever want to have fun with 40k players, get them to play another competitive game and watch the way that they apply their competitive mentality to something like Monopoly. It's hilarious. And then going to Wet and Wild with the boys afterwards to celebrate and going out for dinner. It was just absolute ripper of a weekend, and I highly recommend anyone who's watching this that's in Australia, definitely reach out to your state captains and your state reps and get involved. It's so much fun. Even the coaches, they had such a ripper time at the event. So get involved, get in touch with these people. And if you happen to be watching this from Europe or from the United States or something like that, check to see if there's something of a similar sort of team event nature in your area, because these events are so much fun. And if there's not one in your area, maybe look into setting one up, because they're the perfect event. They're so much fun. They solve a lot of the problems with 40k. They solve a lot of the challenges when it comes to balancing the meta and making it so that losses don't feel bad and the wins feel even better, and they fix everything. So check that out. It's like nearly midnight here in Melbourne, so when I get home, I'm going to have a shower, jump in my own bed, which is just going to be so amazing. Can't wait to fucking get on that comfy thing, get my pillow, and I've got tomorrow off as well, so if I'm feeling up to it, which I'm hoping that I will be, I'll probably just chat up and do it. I'll record a proper summary to round out this video, talking about each game, covering anything that I missed, that sort of stuff, and looking at them a little bit more holistically, and then we'll call it at the end. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Blog for the Blood God.
Alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, thank you very much for sticking around to the end, and let me know in the comments below if you would like to see a follow-up video to this where we go through the specific lists that each team member brought. I might even try to rope some of them on for an interview to talk about how their games went. We've got a lot of information that we can still cover about this event if it's something that you are interested in, but you need to let me know in the comments below. Also, if you want to support the channel, make sure to head over to blogforthebloodgod.com, where you can join our Patreon, you can join our Discord, you can pick up merch like this apparel. There's all sorts of really exciting and interesting ways that you can show your support over on that website, as well as some articles and some other video content that's exclusive to the website that you will not find here on YouTube. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
The Warhammer community suffers from some of the most prohibitively expensive essentials in the world, especially Australian content creators. Every single day, Dean wants to create content, but he can't. Suffering from old, worn-out brushes, expensive model kits, and costly software and equipment, he can't endure much longer. Just look at this dirty paint water. Would you drink this? Would you let your child? Even a small monthly donation can help provide Dean with clean paint water, basic tools for survival, and access to life-saving information and education. So please, follow the links in the description below and find out how you can sponsor a mad cunt like Dean today and end the suffering. Suffering that is cruel, unsustainable, and your fault.
Do your objective markers ever get lost behind terrain or other models and become difficult to see? Do they ever get bumped and accidentally moved during a game? And do they ever spark arguments about distances? Well, not anymore. Introducing the blog for the Blood God, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers. Made from the same material as astronaut suits, or maybe military equipment, or probably neither of those things, this 2mm thick neoprene synthetic rubber is tear resistant, water resistant, and is designed to last. But that's not all. The blog for the Blood God, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers come in a variety of different designs and styles to suit any faction represented in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. These objective markers are a perfect gift for yourself or a friend, and are a perfect way to flex and show your opponent that not only are you a smarter, cooler, and better 40k player than them, but you also have more disposable income than they do. For the low price of $25, you'll get not one, not two, but 6 neoprene objective markers, perfectly designed for 9th edition Warhammer 40k. But wait, there's more. For a limited time only, people who sign up on Patreon to support Blog for the Blood God as a Skull Champion tier $5 per month member will gain access to a custom design service where I will design a unique logo to support their gaming club, like the one I did to the left here for the Potato Farmers local gaming club here in Melbourne. Follow the links in the description of this video to pick up your set today.